Hello and welcome, Essex County College family. We hope you're doing well during this time. This is the Virtual Cafe, powered by Student Life and Activities. Today's episode, number 37, is choosing a major in the post-COVID world of work. We have an expert on this topic, a mentor for all of our Essex students. Special guest, Dr. Robert Spellman. Dr. Spellman, how are you this morning?
Oh, it's a blessing to be alive and healthy, and we are all happy to be a part of the Student Life program that reaches and tries to encourage students. That's what we're all about, students first, and what we say can have an effect. As we did the last presentation, you know, your success, there are people behind you, their success will depend on yours. So you have to produce academic as well as performance excellence. That's what you have to do. But right now, people are in a quandary as to what to major, what kinds of careers are shutting down. Many businesses are shutting down right now, especially the restaurant business has been hit very hard. But ironically, the healthcare business, business in general, finance is doing well. And the projections are that there will be a number of things that someone who's equipped with the right skills will do. What I want to do this morning, Joe, is show the students where not only in their major that they choose, but they need to come up with a skills program. And I'm going to mention even the Essex County Donald Payne Vocational School. And when you major in business and then you take a trade, you mesh the two together so that you don't just look to work for someone as a carpenter or as a chef, but you look to own your own. So I want to go to that, just point out some things. And the big objective too this morning is to get our students who, let's face it, online is the wave of the future. People working from home, careers that relate to people who work at home. But you must be as proficient and efficient and a demonstrator of excellence even more so, because you don't have that social contact, but your work has to be top of the line. So I'm going to be talking about, I'm concerned about our students setting up their learning study. Remember we talked, Joe, a couple of weeks ago, how we would go to the Home Depot, go to the office supply store, get 2 file cabinets. I want to talk a little bit more about that, because that learning environment, I have a study here at home, but it's like part of me. A computer is a part of a person's life right now. Regretfully, it's pretty hard not to operate without a phone, and the phone to an extent is a computer. But right now, to get ahead and be successful and put your hands on any piece of information you need to have, you need your computer skills. Choosing a major in a post-COVID-19 world of work. And there are many jobs right now that have been taken out of the job market. There are many skills that are new and needed, and many of them relate to technology. So as your mentor and as your encourager, as your friend, as you always get tips from people, no one gets by without them, someone giving them some tips that help them in their lives. So I'm just one faculty mentor coming to you, but choosing a major in a post-COVID-19 world of work, that's important. Where you will work, how you will work. And there's nothing like Essex County College. We are institution that really loves what it does. That is to encourage and to educate and to inspire and to give people a piece of knowledge, or just the mechanics of learning, the learning how to learn skills. And Essex is a fully accredited institution. We have a motto, which is students first and also exceed expectations. So the greatest opportunity center in this community is Essex County College. It's dedicated to your success. It's a place where you discover some new things about yourself, an institution with a 50-year history. And we come because we're concerned about your training, your education. This is a tough time, but there's certain things that you must know. It's not just a matter of you nice to know. In order to succeed in college right now, you have to be computer savvy. You have to be able to work online. So we just have this thing where we want to keep you motivated. And remember the last time I told you, even though my grandfather was a preacher, but he always said there's no such thing as good luck. It's all good God. And then he added these three things. It's hard work, it's sound judgment, and it's your tenacity and perseverance to continue despite any obstacles you run into. And he also, and we instill in you, you have leadership qualities. There are things about you that you don't even know yet, but you are a leader. And if someone follows you or imitates you, you are a leader. And they watch what you do, they watch how you do it, and they imitate it. And you're a role model. And we recognize as faculty members, as we have to be role models of excellence, an example that you can put in your mind, almost like a videotape, and a mentor who you know and you look at and can find. We have certain goals, even before we get into the careers that we're confronted with right now. This is a picture of a student, but what we do is a liberal arts education or a college education really should have a multiplicity of things that add to you. It's almost like we're putting these things on you. Aesthetics deals with the science of beauty, and you should have a science, or you should have a philosophy of aesthetics. What's good and beautiful to you? You need to know. Remember, we talked about quality. It's better to have one good wool, 100% wool suit than 5 polyester suits, because polyester is a synthetic material and it wrinkles, but a wool suit will retain its value and retain its strength. In the same way with furniture, we talked about that. There's a social science cognition that we want you to have. We want you to, the big word I use all the time is to be empathetic. I didn't say sympathetic. I said empathetic. And empathy is what Michelle Obama talked about the other night. Putting yourself in the other person's place. What do they feel like? What kind of struggles are they going through? And right now in this country, there are a lot of people who are out there struggling. So you need your tools. And that technology acumen, which is your expertise, that technology understanding is very important. I'm communicating to you through a computer, but with the graphics and everything else. I don't know much, but mark my words, if you listen to me, you will find out and get some tips that are going to add to you. My job is to add to you. People who take away from you, you don't need to be around, but people who add to you that can give you something you didn't have before. And it's not all financial. Much of it has to do with spirit and ethics and example. You got to know something about biology. Pharmaceutical companies are out there right now, and one of the careers that's very hot is in pharmaceutical sales. So if you majored in business and you majored in even in science, you have that option. That's why I want to talk about it. We want you to always think in a positive way, positive thinking. Even when things are down, even when you lose that job, you have to know how to get up. Yeah, you get knocked down, but you get back up because the call to 10 did not reach you. You might have gotten to 5 or 6, but you're back on your feet, ready to fight. How to think. You say, well, I know how to think, but really, do you know how to make a decision? Do you know how to organize and plan? Do you know how to analyze something and how to research something when you want to know it? The humanities, look at that word inside humanities, is human. We study the humanities, the arts, and we have many disciplines that relate to the humanities. And physical science is very important to understand. And then there's history. History is where we look at many people's mistakes and we learn from them. History is a means of knowing what is excellent and what you want to strive for. History lets you know what's going to happen based on what has happened before. And there's an old saying or quotation that he who neglects the lessons or mistakes that he's made are bound to repeat them again. But history helps you to keep from making the same mistake by studying what someone else did. And so we want you to reach your goals and your career. And I gave you this illustration before. Mike Tyson, a power punch. He can, if he hits you, you're going to go down because he had a power punch. Sugar Ray Robinson, speed. If he hits you, he'll hit you fast. But Muhammad Ali was a strategy fighter. And that's the way you're going to be in life, with strategies, how you go around it. Right now, we're facing an election that everyone has to vote. Everyone has to come out. We have to have a strategy. There are people who want to keep us from voting. And so you have to have a strategy to go around it because you are a creative human being. You're as smart, if not smarter than the others, and no one will ever put you down. You have everything to offer that all the other people have. And the person that succeeds is not just because they have a higher intelligence. No, they put the energy into what they want to do. And you have the talent. And I've told you already, I'm reviewing a few things, but it's important. It's important for you to know who you are. It's important for you to know the kinds of things you look at as your future, because you have a long time to live. Where are you 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 20 years from now? And what are your strengths? What do you do better than anyone else? Sometimes it's mechanical. Sometimes it's with your hands. Sometimes there are things that you learn. You can cook. What are your weaknesses? What are your flaws? That's important. Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? What part of the day is most productive for you? And you got to have a philosophy of life, a code of ethics you live by, certain things you just won't do, a standard of excellence in the way you carry yourself, in the way you study, in the way you appear to other people, the way you communicate to other people. And these are the things that give you the rewards and your sense of accomplishment. So you always, I'm supposed to be an old man, but in my mind, I'm 20 years old because I have a thirst for knowledge. I have a thirst to learn new things. What an exciting world it is, and what's happening out there in the computer field, what's happening out there in the design field, what's happening out there in the teaching field. I want to be more effective right now. To be an online teacher is my goal, to be an excellent online teacher. And I told you, those quality experience, people know you. If you don't show you can read, you have a problem. I know someone lives in a White House and he has a problem reading. He has to read word for word. Your eye's supposed to move so fast that you see 7 words a minute as you look. John F. Kennedy took a course in speed reading where he learned how to read 1,200 words per minute. His eye would just come down a newspaper, and he read 8 newspapers a day. There's value and education in travel. There's the YouTube. I keep telling you, anything you want to know, how to cook it, how to fix it, go to YouTube. Then there's so many things that happen in the cultural sense. There's a book called 500 Places to Go, right around here in New York and New Jersey. There's the Javits Center, and there are museums and galleries, and you will enjoy them being with your family. So you need to make sure that you're always learning. That learning machine is always going on, and you need to write it out. Make a note. I keep notebooks in my bedroom, in my car, and I'll get a thought, I'll get an idea. And then I look at the pros and I look at the cons when I get ready to make a decision. And then I will look at what the ratings are. I'll do the research on it and the problems with it, or the advantages. What are the costs in time and in money? See, you weigh these things, and what you're building are a series of operating skills. That's what makes you the educated person. You want to be aware, sharp. We call it perception. Your awareness of the world around you. That's very important. You can pick up things that aren't there, or maybe you don't see on the surface, but sometimes you can look below the surface if you have a sharp eye. So you see the hidden meanings of things. You read and see beneath what is really being said. And in many cases, law cases, they say, what do you think is the real reason why this individual did that? Learn how to see and hear with the third eye. And we've had many such discussions so far on goal setting. If you don't have goals, you just exist. And there's nobody going to just get on the road without a destination, without a goal, without going somewhere. And there are people and things that we do well, we need to observe. We need to get those skills and those gifts. You don't even know you can paint a picture or write a short story or write a poem or write a play or compose a musical. These are things, and I saw some people who are establishing businesses where they have all kinds of unique things that they create for decorating a home. And so it's important. And then, of course, you should have a list of heroes. I saw last night, and you will see this when you go on, but I hope you saw, Mrs. Obama was of excellence in her presentation. Here's a woman who grew up in Chicago. Our father was just like our fathers and mothers, and he struggled and worked every day, but she got a scholarship to Princeton. He got a scholarship to Harvard University. And when she left, even to go to become the White House, she left a job. They paid $300,000 a year. But here was this example of excellence that you can study and admire and appreciate and imitate. So you need to find your set of heroes, and you need to be motivated by them, motivated by what people say. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. That was the one. So I want to move a little faster now because I want to get to these careers. The other thing is you'll never score a point if you don't take a shot. So you will always miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You hold on to the ball, you'll never win. You want to be like that salmon that has to go against the tide, against the waves, he has to jump above it because they have to go back to the place where their legs or their eggs were hatched. So we went through the action plan. I won't go through that again, but most goals have obstacles and most goals have an action plan. And if you neglect that dream that you have, you can say, I want to be like Obama, or I want to be like John Lewis, or I want to be like any hero that you put out. Then you got to study. What did they write? What did they do? What did they say? And we're back to this chart I gave you, where I have to be very hard on you in that there's certain things you just can't neglect. First is reading. You got to know how to read, and I mean read. And you should read. I'm not going to tell you what to read, but read. Go to Barnes and Noble, thumb through the books, learn how to read. And as you read, your vocabulary improves. Then I'm going to talk in a minute. One of the greatest areas where jobs will be is in writing in the post-COVID area. Writing jobs. And then, of course, you have to have math, but that keyboarding that I told you about. And then you should master Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, you have to be good at oral and visual communications. And so it goes down from bottom to top, if I can be so frank. Mastery of those basic academic skills. A person who can read and write is a person that has an advantage all the time because they know and they can find out. So those basic skills, there's no way of getting around. You can't get a degree and not be able to read. You can't be successful. You might hold a piece of paper, but you won't be successful. Then 2, mastering those computer skills. That is keyboarding. That is being able to, as you think, those words just flow, and therefore you don't have to look at the keyboard. 3, to plan your life and your goals. See where you're going to be. You someone who's looking at you, you're courting someone and what have you. If they see you have goals and ambitions, and you have an action plan with it, you're more likely to attract that person than someone who just gives you a whole lot of dreams. But you got to manage your life, and you have to manage your time, and you have to manage yourself. And then I'm going to stress in a couple of minutes here the need for your developing a home learning center somewhere in your house, if it's a corner or somewhere where your computer is, or where you can have a basic library, or where you can store your materials. But that home learning environment is essential, especially in this online learning program that we have, and we're all virtual right now. So you must master your scheduling, the time you give to each course you're taking. And last, you're ready to launch your action plan. So you have to have a goal you're striving for. And all these goals I told you before have obstacles. Sometimes it's time, money, sometimes it's responsibility, sometimes it's a physical handicap, sometimes it's even people who will oppose you. And you ought to know somebody is going to try to oppose your success. And so you have to look at each obstacle as something that you're going to figure out a way of going around, and you're going to keep going. So I won't go over the action plan again, because we went over the action plan, and we know that we have to have, but simply stated, an action plan answers who, what, when, where, how much, and the elements that you're going to need to achieve that goal. I told you before, you have to state the goal, the action steps, but I would do the third step as number 2, timetable. So you have a goal and you want to accomplish it by when. Then you work back from that date. If you want to graduate in the year 2022, then you work back from June or May 2022 back to today. And then the things that go in between there, those are your action steps. What is your priority? You can't be turned back. You can't stop. You can't quit. You can't turn around. You got to keep going. And even with the obstacles, but then you have to have that willpower to go forward. So all things have obstacles, barriers, hurdles, stumbling blocks. They're going to come, but it's your way of planning and working around them. So let's go on now. I told you last week about the importance of mastering Microsoft Office, those skills. Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, where you're dealing with figures and budgets, Microsoft PowerPoint. And I told you about keyboarding, that you don't type point by point. You go from a home position and then you reach to the keys. Now, everybody who's online, everyone who's taking a course, when you start doing your assignments, you can't be hunting and pecking. You've got to do it from a system. And I told you before, you can go to Staples and buy Mavis Baverly. She teaches you typing and what we call keyboarding. I told you about Grammarly last week. That's important because not only is it a spelling check, but it'll tell you that this phrase is too long or this is the wrong usage. It will improve your writing. Once it starts beating you up in terms of your writing and what you need to change, after a while, you become a better writer. So you got to master PowerPoint, because that's exactly what I'm doing here now. I'm not just talking to you. I'm presenting a series of visual and audio things that you can see. And the more you see, you remember 51% of what you see and hear. And you forget 50% of what you hear 20 minutes after you hear it. You remember 83% of what you see, hear, and do. So what I'm trying to do, bring those visual things. If you notice on TV, they explain the economy with charts and graphs and all kinds of illustrations. And so therefore, it's important that you know. So let's go. And we told you about this. Same thing I told you before, down at the bottom, master, reading, writing, thinking, communicating. Then you move to the organizational phase. Then you use, and we call it the wherewithal. And you're going to find pressures and jobs out there that are scarce, what we call life's icebergs, problems. And you have this to confront that with. You have, and you know where you are in relationship to where you're going, and you know you have to aim high, and you have to work and with people. I talked about networking before. This picture, this soldier, was a case in which the soldier's eyes, they had a shrapnel, they had a grenade thrown at them. One lost his legs, couldn't use his legs. The other one lost his eye, shrapnel went in there. And they had to warn the company that the enemy was closing in. They said, how shall we do this? And the one said, all right, your feet, I don't have my eyes, but I have my feet. And you have your eyes and you don't have your feet. So therefore, I'll put you on my back and we use my eyes and your feet, and we will warn them. And that's what I'm saying. somewhere in life, you have to network and get help somewhere. So what do college graduates need to know entering the market, the post-coronavirus market? Only half of Americans say right now they can cover their expenses without difficulty. There's no bill if we're getting $600 a week. It's tough right now. 80% of everyone carrying debt. Some people can't pay their mortgage. They can't pay their cars being repossessed, you know. So what kind of job, what kind of income are you going to have? Where can you get help? And I told you before, you have a career resource center at Essex County College. And we're working on a lot of things, but I've been talking with my friends, Joseph Ott and Pat Slade and others, about student life having this counseling center, a center in which you find out answers for yourself, where you know you can get help. And the experts will tell you where to go and find what you need to know. Career services, people who know careers and how to direct you. And we even have a couple of college programs like that. But one of the biggest ones is being able to be paid for writing. Did you know that there are people, writers work, they connect, and there are all kinds of jobs relating to writing right now. Training tools, writing manuals, writing all kinds of things. And just look at some of these jobs. Some people just write content on websites, on ads, go into advertising, come up with the right wording. Some with political advertising. Some people making lots of money during these election periods. We call it blogging, where you write interesting blogs for different brands or people who have something to say. Copywriting is a thing in which you're checking things and you know grammar, you know where the errors are, you know where it's better. And many people write books, they get that kind of help. And then there are the social media posts. How do you put it on Facebook? How do you put it on YouTube? How do you put it on the website? How do you make it attractive? How do you make it so someone's going to stay on it? Because they found out that people only stay on Facebook the maximum like 7 minutes and they click. But you got to know something to have a writing job. Yeah, maybe you do have to be 18 if you're a college student, but you need an internet connection. That's the key. You can find out what you need to know. You need customer service. You need to have a good spirit about yourself and dealing with people on the phone because you're working from home now and you're willing to do work and a certain amount of work for pay. And you can't sit home just because you're home. Freelance writers work all times and they start getting paid $20 an hour to $65 an hour. So you can't go wrong when you learn how to write effectively. Where are the most promising career prospects as we go into this different work world, a world that's very concerned about all kinds of contact, which is limited. We have to deal with space and mass and distances, and we have to deal with our access to each other or multiple groups getting together. So we have these many careers where we can work at home or work in private. And I'll tell you about the copywriter, people who need people to write copy. Anything in a magazine or anything in a publication, we call it copy. That's the graphic design term. Then there are many people who are just fantastic proofreaders. Now you say you have spell checks, but Grammarly is good, but some people are just excellent in the usage of words. And the graphic design, how it looks. Like, for an example, I have a problem with Facebook. I don't like too much going on there, whereas with YouTube, I can work differently, or with a website can. And what happens is Facebook research shows people only stay on 7 minutes, 3 minutes. They don't stay on, but there are many jobs out there to design Facebook pages, to add. Then I told you before about the virtual assistant. That's somebody that knows how to solve problems with the computer. Do you have enough RAM? Do you have enough contact? Joe, you see, when we had a problem in connection, you went right to it. Where would you be if you didn't have that virtual assistant skill as a part of you? And then you have to manage the social media. You can't stay on Zoom all day. You can't stay on Facebook all day. Then there are people who transcribe, who bring from one to another. And then you have English teachers. Well, hey, that's important. Learning how to read and write is probably those are your navigating skills. You're like a ship without a sail if you don't know how to read and write. You're like a sailboat with no rudder. You're just floating out there. Then you have what we call customer service representatives. And these are people who are working. You have to have certain personal skills with them. Then you have video producer editors. That's what Joe, not myself, we do right now. We will take this and we will edit it and we will add to it. And we become editors so that it doesn't become too lengthy. And online technicians are important. And then there's a big field getting ready to break open. It's called the homeschooling tutor technician. And that's where a lot of kids who aren't able to come, their parents have to quit their jobs and they have to do the schooling at home. And what we're doing right now at Essex, we're getting ready to open up a program in the education department on homeschooling. And so business administration, you can't go wrong. Because if you major in business or you get a degree, associate degree in business administration, you still can get that skill. That's what I want to get to. Health services, I'm telling you, you may think that people don't want to work in the hospitals and what have you, but I'm telling you that's where the jobs are. Health administrators, see, nurses, and so the pharmaceutical sales, I talked about that a little bit earlier. And then so you got to be able to communicate. You got to be able to send a message, and then the person has to receive it. And then you have to have the right message, and then you have to have the right medium, right? Whether it's a voice or what have you. They use all kinds of things to communicate on commercials. But your medium is your tool. TV, is it radio? Is it print? And then, of course, what we call, Larry King made famous, feedback, your response, your reaction, your criticism. So the process, you got to understand the communication process. Some people hear you, but they don't receive you. There's a block as you put yours out. Or you may have a message that might not be clear. Or you may use the wrong medium. And then, of course, you can't get feedback. There are many businesses that focus in on the communication process. And so one of the great things I always advise every student, whenever you see the opportunity for an internship, you ought to take advantage because it gets you in the door. Schools that focus in on career preparation, and they have what we call cooperative education program, where you work on the job and you learn the job while you're working. You're in already. So they either like you or they dislike you. And that work experience can get many students jobs. I supervised a girl, she was from University of Pennsylvania, and she went and worked for an advertising firm over in New York, and I was chosen to evaluate her. But she was in that company. They knew her work. She learned all those skills because she took advantage of an internship. So one option is to gain experience in an internship. Another one, which I want to talk about at another time, but I'm very familiar with, is the military. Where you say, well, I don't want to go in the Army. But there's some great opportunities in the military, particularly if you're an officer and you have, even if you serve for 3 years and you come out as a veteran, you have an opportunity. You have first choice if you're under 35 for police department. Most veterans can get a job if they're mentally all right in a police department. Also, veterans are given all kinds of additional help. And one of the ways in which I got my PhD was because I had the VA and my service as an officer in the Army. And we have what we call in colleges ROTC. So you might go through Essex and then transfer to a school that has ROTC. And I've counseled many students and veterans who've been in the military. But we're in an age, you go to work today with your computer, you must own a laptop. You must be in a place where you can think, where you can be quiet, where you can be creative. Jobs that you have to put on a mask. And if you say, well, I'm going to put on a mask, well, you're causing two problems. One, you're endangering yourself, but two, you are making yourself dangerous to someone else around you. So our whole scope, and look at this sign, they're jobs, but what does it say, students? Must be computer savvy. You know, this thing is having an impact. And some say that we won't recover from this for a long time. So we've got to adapt our job skills. Look at, this is in a computer manufacturing. These are trained people, but they have to wear that mask. Classrooms. And then your home environment. Where do you learn? Do you have enough space? You know, the jobs going out of business, but there are jobs that require computer expertise if you're retail. Some of your department stores, even, you know, Amazon and others, some of those better jobs require computer savviness, technology knowledge, people who work with robots, people who work with the computer. That's your main. So you have all kinds of jobs that are post-COVID. And some of them are in supermarkets, but they need you. And then I just told you a little while back, right up the street from Essex County College is the Donald Payne Senior School of Technology. Up there, for an example, they have an advanced media lab. And what I'm trying to say, students, is that you can do two things at once. You can pick up a trade or skill in addition to your Essex County College liberal arts teaching, so that when you come out, you're equipped not only because you are educated in the arts and in the mathematics and physical science and biological science and history and philosophy, but you also have a skill. They have an advanced media lab up there at that school. Look, they have culinary arts. Many of you, want to learn how to be chefs. Chefs make a lot of money. And if you have special recipes, you can make a lot of money. And you have to know how to cook. You see the cooking channel on TV. So they have all kind of facilities where they have health careers. They have music production. Music production is a big thing because churches and others are having concerts, and you have to have a sound system, and that's a good background. That's a good side hustle in addition. Then your computer business, law, public safety. I talked about graphic design. Then the whole area, the green energy area. television production. The day of the digital cameras here. Dental assistant, automotive. Someone said, I don't know, but I'm going to college. Do you know some of the most, I know a guy has his PhD and he owns a garage. And he's in the building trades, but he owns a automotive place because he had that skill. And agriculture. When I was in college, I used to laugh at a guy who he was majoring in agriculture. And he today supervises a golf course. He makes $400,000 a year. See? So you have horticulture, you have that up there at that school, you have cosmetology. You may want to learn the skill, you want to learn beautician skills, and then you want to open up your own business. That's all I'm saying. But right now, the key is that laptop. The key is to be an apprentice, get into a program. And I took students on a field trip, and in my students' lab, we were in New York at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So the bus went down Fifth Avenue, and we saw a couple of people like this, 5 dogs in each hand. And everybody started laughing. All right, you can laugh all you want. So when we got back, I told him, I said, I will give extra credit. Someone who finds out just how much money these people make. And come to find out, some made over $100,000, some made $97,000 a year walking the dogs. What a nice hustle. See, so you can be a student and have a job like this and make yourself money at home, writing for someone. You're going to be working from home, and you got to avoid some of the mistakes at home. Some of the mistakes are you don't want to open up a noisy area. You want to be where you won't fall asleep. You don't want to be sitting in a chair. Your study chair should not be a lounge chair. It should be one that helps your lumbar in the back. Your back keeps you. You should have a computer. You should have a printer. You should have a modem. You should have a workspace. But then you have to watch out that you have enough RAM in your computer. And last, you can't overload those electrical circuits. Here's a graphic designer. She works from home. Everything she does is at home. Here's someone else who writes copy. They work from home. And notice the chair. You see that back part there on the back over here. This is important. It's called lumbar. And that's important in keeping you. Now, here's a person who works with a laptop plus 2 other monitors. But look, they have their file cabinet. Remember I told you about getting 2 file cabinets and a door? This is how your work environment should be. You want to create a home learning center at home. And I told you about nursing. I told you about one of the biggest areas, students, is in maintenance. So everybody said, well, I don't want to be no cleaning and garbage. Let me tell you something. Everyone and everything has to be clean, especially now during this COVID problem, difficulty. You got spray disinfectant. Things have to be. And there are people who are opening up businesses every day where they're doing it. And I want to tell you a story about my friend. How much time do we have, Joe?
As much as you need.
Oh, I thought you were giving me signals. But I'm excited. You can see, I have a friend, his name Mills, we call him. And he didn't get out of I don't think he got out of the 9th grade. And he had some very poor English, but his mother taught him how to clean. And he got an old wax machine that he bought secondhand that he was going to use in his house. But all of a sudden he got laid off. And he went around to gas stations and contracted with some of the worst bathrooms in gas stations. He went around and got contracts to clean bathrooms. And did you know, my friend Mills has 8 trucks now. He has 14 people work for him, and he rides around in a Mercedes Benz. So what I'm saying to you, you will always need someone maintenance. Now look at these sanitizing. This takes training. These people make a lot of money. You know, they make a lot of money. They go into subways, they clean the subway cars, they have to dress up in a special uniform, but they're paid a lot of money to sanitize bathrooms and labs. And there are all kind of new jobs in sanitizing facilities. It's also big stuff on Amazon. And this girl doesn't have a mask on, but if you go out to Amazon now, you won't find anyone who doesn't have a mask on. So we need skilled workers, but we have to be careful. There are many technology-based careers. And at home, our children, our babies, they need to be taught. They need to own a laptop. They need to own a computer. And that office home classroom, yours needs to be fixed up. You need to get your file cabinet. Maybe you won't have what we call a desktop computer, but you'll have a laptop. And you need to have a place you can file. You need to have a paper shredder. That keeps a lot of things away. And then you have to have a modem, a high-speed internet access. That's very important, and it's worth the investment. And you end up, here's someone with an iPad plus 2 computers. So your health is important. It's a high priority because you have to keep living healthy to keep that job. So as I end today, I end with this message. Stay strong, stay safe, stay educated, stay well.
All right, students. You may think that's an old man talking to you. That is the youngest old man in the entire world, okay? We hope that you are sincerely doing well during this time. We know it can be rough and stressful out there, and we know that a lot of folks have lost their jobs. So we're here to help you. Essex County College Student Life is here to help you. Dr. Spellman is here to help you. He's not just a mentor to all of you. He's also a mentor to me. He's a valuable asset. And I encourage every Essex County College student to reach out for a mentor. Reach out to Student Life. Our email address is slao@essex.edu. We want to help you. We want to help you not only get through this time, but we want to help you succeed through this time. We want to help you exceed through this time, okay? It's very, very important that you survive because the next generation truly does depend on you. If you notice, a lot of the things I'm saying are titles of programs that Dr. Spellman has done because the information that he has for us is vital, valuable, and it's the best thing for us right now to encourage you with, to pick something up new, pick up a new skill, learn how to do something, okay? We hope that you and your families are doing well during this time. We thank you for tuning in to the Virtual Cafe. As always, we thank our guest, Dr. Robert Spellman, for bestowing this amazing pearls of wisdom upon us. Go back and watch these videos on YouTube. It's YouTube. Our name is SLAO Essex. All of these programs are available to you to research at any time, to go back and access. Put a new skill in your arsenal. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care.